Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me for a moment. Have you ever wondered why relationships matter? You see, we live in a world where people come and go, where life moves fast, and we're always looking for the next thing. But if you don't take the time to understand why relationships are so important, you might just miss the point of it all. Most important, wise men gathered together to form a religion. Pursue and science pursue, and religion pursue, and religion pursue. Relationships, be it with family, friends, or even your partner, are not some optional side thing. No, they're at the core of everything you do. They are the foundation upon which your life is built. And before you can even begin to understand others, you got to start by understanding yourself. And relationships, whether they are with family, friends, or romantic partners, form the very foundation of our lives. But how often do we truly stop and ask ourselves why they matter? In a world that is constantly evolving, where people come and go, it's easy to get caught up in the rush of daily life and forget the real significance of the connections we build with others. The truth is, relationships are not just a part of our lives, they are our lives. They shape who we are, what we value, and how we navigate the world. Now, before you can fully understand why relationships are so essential, you have to begin with one fundamental truth. You must first understand yourself. It starts with self-awareness. How can you expect to connect with others if you don't even know who you are? How can you give love, trust, or loyalty if you haven't cultivated those qualities within yourself? Self-reflection is key. You must be honest with yourself about your values, your needs, and your boundaries. Only when you are clear on who you are, what you stand for, and what you need from others, will you be able to truly understand and build meaningful relationships. Do right by yourself, and the world will do right by you. Too often, people look outside of themselves for validation. They place their happiness, their sense of self-worth, and their emotional well-being in the hands of others. And while relationships certainly have the power to enrich our lives, they are not meant to define us. You cannot expect someone else to fill a void that only you can understand and address. If you're not whole on your own, no amount of love from someone else can truly complete you. Relationships are meant to complement your life, not define it. The most successful and fulfilling relationships are those where both individuals are whole, confident, and secure in themselves. Quality individuals tend to live better and more fully in life when they feel they are worthy and deserving of love. But understanding yourself isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning. Once you've established who you are, then comes the hard work, building, nurturing, and sustaining relationships. Because let me tell you something, relationships are not easy. They are not something you can just expect to thrive without effort. If you want something real, something lasting, you have to be willing to put in the work. The biggest reversals we can make, if you want something real, something lasting, you have to be willing to put in the work. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, and moments of frustration. Relationships test you in ways that you never thought possible. But that's the point. The struggles are what help you grow, both as an individual and as part of a relationship. As you challenge each other, you grow together, and you learn more about yourself. Every challenge you face in a relationship is an opportunity for growth. Every moment of conflict forces you to reevaluate your values, your priorities, and how you approach communication. The key is not to shy away from the difficulties, but to face them head-on with a mindset of resilience and understanding. You see, the most valuable lessons you learn in life often come from the hardest moments. It's during those tough times that you learn about the strength of your bond with others and about the depth of your character. And that brings me to communication. If you don't communicate openly and honestly, you are leaving the door wide open for misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and unnecessary conflict. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's not enough to simply speak. Your words have to be meaningful. You must communicate not just with your voice, but with your heart. Speak truthfully, even when it's hard. And just as importantly, listen. The ability to truly listen, to hear, to understand, and to empathize is one of the most powerful tools you can have in a relationship. Listening is where connection happens. Without it, the relationship is built on shaky ground. At some point, it must be confronted with the truth, letting its light diffuse the darkness and shed light and invite reconciliation. Trust is another cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. You can't expect to have a strong connection with anyone if trust isn't at the center. Trust isn't something you can just assume. It's something that has to be earned every single day. And loyalty goes hand in hand with that trust. Loyalty isn't just about being there when things are easy. It's about showing up when times are tough. It's about standing by someone even when the world is against them. Without loyalty, there is no foundation for trust to grow. And without trust, there is no relationship worth having. Finally, let's talk about impact. Every relationship you enter, whether personal or professional, leaves a mark. You have the power to either lift people up or bring them down. What kind of impact do you want to have on those around you? Relationships are not just about taking from others, they are about giving. The energy, love, and respect you bring into any relationship will determine what kind of connection you have. You are not just receiving, you are contributing. Make sure what you bring to the table is worth giving. So, have you ever wondered why relationships matter? They matter because they shape who we are. They challenge us, they teach us, and they force us to grow. Relationships are the real treasures in life, not material possessions or fleeting moments of success. They are the ones that define us, sustain us, and remind us of what it means to truly live. We are all interconnected, and it is through these connections that we find our greatest strength. So, make the effort. Build the relationships that matter, invest in the ones that matter most, and always, always remember that love, trust, and communication are the foundations upon which everything else stands. The challenges we face in relationships are inevitable, but it's in those challenges that we find the potential for growth. Too often, people shy away from the difficulties that come with human connection. They want the smooth road, the easy path. But let me tell you something. The easy road never leads to greatness. If you want a relationship that will stand the test of time, if you want something meaningful, you have to be willing to walk through the fire. 3 are every difficulty you encounter, every tough conversation, and every moment of tension is not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to grow, to learn more about yourself, and to strengthen the bond between you and the other person. When you face challenges, they can either break you down or build you up. It's up to you to decide which path you take. You see, relationships are not static. They are dynamic. They are constantly evolving. And if you think a relationship will always stay the same, or that you won't have to put in the work, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Relationships take constant effort. They take patience. They take vulnerability. They take compromise. If you want a real connection, you need to put in the energy to nurture that bond, to understand the other person's needs and desires, and to communicate openly about your own. It's not enough to say, "I love you." You need to show it, not just in words, but in action. It's easy to get frustrated when things aren't going your way, when you're not seeing eye to eye, when the world feels like it's pulling you in different directions. But these moments are the test. They are the moments when the true depth of your relationship is revealed. How you respond to adversity will determine the strength of the connection you share. Are you going to stand by that person when things get tough? Are you going to be the support they need, even when your own life is in turmoil? That's the real test of loyalty. That's when trust is earned, not when everything is going well, but when it's hard, when there's no guarantee of success. It's easy to say you'll be there for someone when everything's perfect. The real commitment comes in those moments when everything seems to be falling apart. And this is where communication plays such an important role. We're often taught that to communicate means to speak, but true communication is about understanding and being understood. Too many times we focus on what we want to say without taking the time to listen to what the other person is actually saying. Communication isn't just about your voice, it's about your presence, your attentiveness, and your willingness to hear the other person. It's about empathy. You cannot have a strong relationship without empathy. Empathy allows you to connect on a deeper level. It allows you to understand why someone feels the way they do, why they react the way they do, and how to respond in a way that fosters healing, trust, and respect. You live in a world where instant gratification is the norm. We want things now, quick fixes, easy solutions, and minimal effort. But when it comes to relationships, nothing worth having comes easy. Relationships require time, they require patience, and they require consistency. You can't build a foundation of trust and love on a shaky, unstable ground. You have to put in the work, day in and day out. Small gestures of kindness, small moments of understanding, small acts of loyalty, those are the things that build a strong, unshakable relationship. It's the day-to-day actions that count more than grand gestures. It's the consistent effort to show that you care, that you're committed, that you're there for the long haul. And yes, there will be moments when you'll question whether it's worth it. There will be times when you'll feel like giving up, when the obstacles seem too large to overcome. But let me tell you something. Those are the times when you need to dig deep. Those are the times when you need to remind yourself of why you're in this relationship in the first place. You're in it because you care. You're in it because you believe in the potential of what the relationship can be. You're in it because you know that nothing worth having comes without struggle, without sacrifice, and without commitment. The truth is, relationships will challenge you. They will push you to your limits. They will expose your weaknesses, your flaws, and your vulnerabilities. But in doing so, they will also make you stronger. They will help you grow in ways that nothing else can. The key is to never give up. Never walk away when things get hard. Stick with it. Lean into the discomfort. Work through the conflict, because on the other side of those challenges lies a connection that is stronger than anything you could have imagined. When you look back at the relationships in your life, I want you to be able to say that you gave everything you had. I want you to look back and see that you showed up even when it was difficult. I want you to know that you didn't just take from those relationships. You gave, you nurtured, you built. And in doing so, you created something that lasted, something real, something worth having. That's the power of commitment. That's the power of true, meaningful relationships. And that, my friends, is what makes it all worth it. Trust is the bedrock of any lasting relationship, yet it's something that so many people take for granted. Too often, we place our trust in others without fully understanding that trust is not something that can simply be handed over. It must be earned. Trust is not given. It is built over time, one action at a time. Trust is the glue that holds everything together. But it's also the first thing to shatter when things go wrong. You can rebuild a relationship, but once trust is broken, it can be incredibly difficult to restore. When you enter into a relationship, whether it's with family, friends, or a romantic partner, You are placing a part of your heart, your vulnerability, in the hands of another person. And when you do that, you're saying, I trust you. But trust is not just about believing someone will not hurt you. It's about knowing that they will have your back, even when things aren't easy. Trust is about consistency, about showing up time and time again when it matters the most. It's about proving, through actions and words, that you can be relied upon, that you are someone worth trusting. That's why it's so crucial to be mindful of your actions. Every word you say, every decision you make, has the potential to either strengthen or weaken the trust between you and someone else. One lie, one betrayal, one moment of weakness can create cracks that take a long time to mend. And while it's true that everyone makes mistakes, it's how you own up to them that matters. Taking responsibility, apologizing sincerely, and showing through your actions that you are committed to doing better is how you rebuild trust. Trust doesn't come back overnight. It takes time, patience, and consistent effort to show that you are worthy of someone's faith in you. And loyalty is just as important as trust because the two go hand in hand. Loyalty isn't just about being there when things are easy or when the relationship is convenient. Loyalty is about sticking by someone's side when they need you the most, when things get tough, and when the world seems to be falling apart. Loyalty is the ability to stand by someone's side in the face of adversity, to support them when they falter, and to be their rock when they need it. Loyalty is about commitment, not just in words, but in actions. You don't just say you're loyal, you prove it through your consistent actions and your unwavering support. When loyalty and trust are present in a relationship, something beautiful happens. You create a space where both people feel safe. You create a foundation where both individuals can be their true, authentic selves without fear of judgment or rejection. When you trust someone completely and they are loyal to you in return, you create a bond that is unbreakable. That's the kind of relationship that lasts. Faith is the foundation under which to build. That's the kind of relationship that will withstand the test of time. But it all starts with trust and loyalty. Now, let's not forget about the impact we have on those around us. You are not just in relationships for what you can get. You are there to contribute, to give, and to create something positive. Too often we focus so much on our own needs and desires that we forget how much we have to offer. A relationship is not a one-way street. It's a two-way exchange of energy, love, and support. Think about what you bring to the table. What are you offering to those around you? Are you uplifting them, encouraging them, supporting them, or are you taking more than you give? Every time you interact with someone, you have the power to either lift them up or tear them down. Every word you speak, every action you take has an impact. That impact can be positive or negative. If you're not careful, you can unintentionally hurt someone, cause them pain, or create distance between you. On the other hand, when you approach relationships with kindness, respect, and empathy, you build something powerful. Notice building connection with people. You create a space where both people feel valued, where both people can grow, and where both people feel safe to be themselves. It's easy to think about relationships in terms of what you can get: love, support, companionship, and so on. But the true beauty of relationships lies in what you can give. The more you give, whether it's your time, your attention, your understanding, or your care, the more you receive in return. It's not about keeping score. It's about building something real, something deep, something that is built on mutual respect, trust, and loyalty. When both people give equally, when both people show up for one another, that's when the relationship reaches its full potential. So, as you move through life and navigate the relationships you have, remember that they are not just about you. They are about the other person too. How are you showing up for them? How are you contributing to their growth, their well-being, and their happiness? If you want strong, lasting relationships, you have to approach them with the mindset that it's not just about what you can take, it's about what you can give. It's about what you can give. And when you give with an open heart, when you approach others with genuine care and empathy, that's when you build the kind of relationships that stand the test of time. At the end of the day, relationships are what make life meaningful. They give us purpose, they challenge us, and they push us to be better. But relationships are not easy. They require effort, understanding, patience, trust, loyalty, and a willingness to give. The more you invest in those around you, the more you'll get in return. And when you have relationships built on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect, you'll have something that is worth holding on to for a lifetime. There are countless ways we can build strong relationships, but the key to lasting connections lies in one fundamental principle: communication. The way we speak to each other, the way we listen, and the way we respond all play a pivotal role in determining the strength and health of any relationship. Communication goes beyond simply exchanging words. It's about creating a space where both individuals feel heard, understood, and valued. Without communication, relationships cannot thrive. It's easy to think that as long as we are talking, we're communicating. But communication is so much more than just words. It's about intention, understanding, and respect. Too often, we speak to one another without truly listening. We're so focused on making our point, on getting our own thoughts across, that we forget the power of really hearing what someone else is saying. Listening isn't just about being silent while the other person speaks. It's about paying attention, observing their body language, understanding their emotions, and truly engaging in what they're sharing. When you listen actively, you validate the other person's experience, and you show them that their thoughts and feelings matter. Effective communication also means being honest, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It's easy to say what people want to hear, but that doesn't foster real connection. Real connection comes from speaking with authenticity, from sharing your true thoughts, fears, and desires, even when they're difficult. When you are open and transparent, you invite the other person to do the same. This vulnerability is the root of trust. It allows the other person to see you for who you truly are, not just the version of yourself that you've perfected. When we communicate openly, we give others the opportunity to understand us on a deeper level, and that understanding is what fosters intimacy and trust. However, honesty doesn't mean being hurtful. The truth, when spoken with kindness and consideration, can open doors, heal wounds, and build deeper connections. There's a difference between speaking the truth and saying something that wounds or belittles the other person. Communication should always be about clarity and understanding, not about tearing others down or using words as weapons. Words are powerful. They can either uplift or destroy, and it's essential that we choose them wisely. It's about speaking with respect, even in the moments of disagreement or conflict. It's about choosing to engage with empathy, remembering that the person across from you is a human being with their own fears, insecurities, and desires. One of the greatest challenges in communication is when misunderstandings arise. We've all been there, situations where things are said in the heat of the moment or where we misinterpret another person's words or intentions. But how we handle these misunderstandings is what truly defines a relationship. If you allow resentment to fester, if you choose to stay silent when something bothers you, if you let negative feelings build up, then you are letting the relationship deteriorate. Conflict is a natural part of any relationship. It's how you navigate through it that determines the strength of your bond. Instead of retreating, instead of letting emotions control you, choose to confront the issue with open communication. Talk it through, express how you feel, and allow the other person to do the same. When you approach conflict with the intention of understanding rather than winning, you open the door to resolution and growth. Another important aspect of communication is consistency. It's not enough to have one deep, honest conversation. and think that's enough for the relationship. Communication should be ongoing. It's about checking in with one another, being present in each other's lives, and ensuring that both individuals feel valued and heard. Regular, thoughtful communication helps to maintain connection, keep the relationship strong, and address any issues before they become bigger problems. It's about showing up physically, emotionally, and mentally for the other person. When you consistently communicate, you ensure that the relationship remains grounded and you avoid the pitfalls of drifting apart. Also remember that communication is not always verbal. Nonverbal cues, body language, tone of voice, facial expressions speak volumes. A kind touch, a smile, the way you look at someone when they speak, all convey messages that words alone cannot. These small gestures often speak louder than anything you can say. In many ways, how you act speaks more clearly than your words. If your actions align with what you're saying, it builds trust and reinforces the authenticity of your communication. But if there is a disconnect between your words and actions, it creates doubt, confusion, and uncertainty. Authentic communication requires alignment between what you say and what you do. It is certainly true, no person can convey an idea effectively. In every relationship, it's essential to remember that communication is a two-way street. Both people have to be equally invested in listening and sharing. It's easy to focus on what you want to say, but true communication requires patience and an understanding that the other person's perspective is just as important as your own. Relationships grow when both people are willing to meet each other halfway, to compromise, to listen deeply, and to respond with care. So if you want to build strong, lasting relationships, take a step back and look at the way you communicate. Are you speaking from a place of honesty and kindness? Are you truly listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Are you addressing issues as they arise, or are you letting them fester in silence? Communication is the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. If you can communicate with love, respect, and empathy, you will foster connections that will stand the test of time. Real relationships are built on the strength of clear, honest, and compassionate communication. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Every relationship you enter into, whether it's with family, friends, or a romantic partner, has the potential to shape not just your life, but also the lives of those around you. It's important to recognize that the impact you have on others is not something to take lightly. The way you treat people, the energy you bring into the room, and the attitude you carry with you all leave an impression, sometimes more profound than you realize. Relationships aren't just about what you get, they're about what you give. Every interaction is an opportunity to either uplift or tear down, to encourage or to discourage. The kind of impact you have on others is shaped by your actions, your words, and your choices. The connections that make the world go round are the connections we make with people such as the ones left unsaid. Think about the relationships that have made the greatest impact on you. Who were the people who showed up for you in your time of need? Who were the ones who listened without judgment, offered a helping hand when you were struggling, or provided guidance when you were lost? Those relationships didn't come out of nowhere. They were cultivated with care, with effort, and with a genuine desire to be there for each other. Those strong relationships were worth it when they were firm and constant, and when they were strong, they raised your spirits and they raised your family. The most meaningful relationships are built on reciprocity. It's not just about taking, it's about giving, about showing up consistently, and about making a positive impact on the people you care about. The truth is, you have more influence than you realize. Every moment you spend with someone is an opportunity to either add to their life or take from it. If you want to build strong, meaningful connections, You need to start by thinking about the kind of impact you're making. Are you the kind of person who encourages others, who brings positivity and support? Or are you someone who drains energy, creates tension, or only takes what you need? You have the power to affect people's lives in ways you might not even realize. Whether it's through a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, or simply being there when needed, the impact you have on others can shape the course of their lives. It's not always about grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness or the simplest words of encouragement can have the greatest impact. Think of a time when someone said something to you that stuck with you. Maybe it was a compliment, a word of advice, or simply an acknowledgement that you were seen. These small moments have the power to stay with you, to lift you up when you're feeling down, or to encourage you to push through when times are tough. Those moments are a reminder of the importance of showing up for the people you care about and the incredible power of your words and actions. But impact isn't just about being kind or supportive when it's convenient. True impact comes when you show up for people even when it's hard, when you are there for someone in their darkest moments, when you give of yourself without expecting anything in return, when you sacrifice your own comfort to help someone else. That's when you make the most profound impact. Relationships aren't just about being there when things are easy or when everything is going smoothly. It's when the going gets tough that you see the true depth of a relationship. Are you the kind of person who stands by someone in their struggle? Or do you step away when things get difficult? If you want to create relationships that last, you must recognize the power of consistency. Being there for someone, day in and day out, when they need you most, is what builds trust and deepens connection. You cannot expect to build strong relationships if you are only there for the good times. It's the willingness to be there for the bad times too that sets apart those relationships that endure from those that fade away. The reality is that no one has the ability to impact others in exactly the same way. Your experiences, your perspective, your history, these things all shape how you interact with the world and those around you. But that uniqueness is what makes your contributions to relationships so valuable. You have something only you can offer: your thoughts, your wisdom, your perspective, and when you share those things, you enrich the lives of others. Each time you offer your time, your care, your wisdom, or your love, you contribute to the foundation of the relationship you're building. And the impact doesn't end with just one person. Every person you interact with has their own circle of influence. The positivity, love, and care you give to one person spreads out into their life and the lives of others they come into contact with. This ripple effect is how relationships, both large and small, can create waves of change, of love, and of growth. It's easy to underestimate the significance of one act of kindness, one conversation, or one small gesture. But when you contribute to someone's life in a meaningful way, you help them to become better, stronger, and more empowered. And that ripple effect continues to extend outward, creating a chain of impact that you might never see, but that makes a profound difference in the world. So as you go through life and interact with the people around you, ask yourself, what kind of impact do I want to have? What kind of energy do I want to contribute to the relationships I am part of? The answer to these questions will shape the kind of relationships you have and the kind of person you are becoming. If you strive to make a positive impact, to uplift others and bring them into their full potential, you'll not only build stronger relationships, but you'll also help to create a world where love, respect, and empathy thrive. The relationships you create and the impact you have on those around you are the true legacies you leave behind. It's not the things you accumulate in life that matter. It's the relationships you cultivate and the positive impact you have on others that will define your legacy. He says, before turning to the next section of script.